please. I'm begging you. Cassian Valentino's hand crushed her throat against the marble pillar, his gray eyes burning with something between fury and hunger. Rain hammered the terrace outside her mother's reception hall. Beg all you want, Gianna, he whispered against her lips. You're still mine. You're engaged to someone else. And you're my fucking stepsister now. His thumb traced her racing pulse. Doesn't change what happened between us. Doesn't change that I can still taste you. Behind them, champagne glasses clinked. Wedding gueslauged. Her mother danced with Cassian's father, blissfully unaware that the man pinning her daughter to the wall had already ruined her 3 weeks ago. Gianna Romano had stopped believing in love the night she found Marcus, her fiancé of 2 years, buried between her best friend's legs on their kitchen counter. She'd stood there for 17 seconds, watching him grunt into another woman's neck, before something fundamental inside her shattered. She didn't scream, didn't cry, just walked out, got in her car, and drove into the storm with mascara streaming down her face and Marcus's ring still burning on her finger. That's when she saw him, Cassian, standing in the rain outside a bar in Red Hook, Brooklyn, smoking a cigarette like he had nowhere to be and all the time in the world. Their eyes met through her rain-streaked windshield. He took one look at her wrecked face and crushed the cigarette under his Italian leather shoe. She should have kept driving. Should have gone home, called her mother, dealt with her imploding engagement like a rational person. Instead she parked. Bad night. Cassian had asked, voice like smoke and sin. The worst. Gianna's voice cracked. I need to forget. He studied her for a long moment. This broken girl in a cocktail dress, mascara ruined, diamond ring she was twisting off her finger. Then he offered his hand. I can help with that, Bellissima. She took it. Biggest mistake of her life. Best decision she'd ever made. He led her up to an apartment above the bar. Expensive minimalist, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the harbor. Poured her whiskey. Let her cry for exactly 3 minutes before he tilted her chin up and said the words that would haunt her. You want to forget him? Let me give you something worth remembering. His mouth crashed into hers, and Gianna forgot her name. Forgot Marcus. Forgot every careful choice she'd ever made. Cassian Valentino tasted like danger and expensive cigars and something darkly addictive. His hands knew exactly where to touch, how much pressure, when to be gentle, and when to take what he wanted. He fucked her against the windows with the city lights bleeding through the rain, his teeth on her throat, his hands bruising her hips. Made her scream his name so loud the neighbors probably heard. Made her come so hard she saw stars. Look at you, he'd growled in her ear, one hand fisted in her hair while the other worked between her legs. Shaking, and I haven't even finished with you yet. She was a stranger to herself that night, reckless, desperate, alive in a way she'd never been with Marcus. Cassian took her apart piece by piece and put her back together as someone new. Someone who moaned his name in Italian. Someone who begged. And when the sun rose over Brooklyn, she slipped out while he slept, leaving nothing but her ruined panties on his floor, and a first name he'd groaned 100 times. Gianna. If you're already hooked, you know this isn't your average romance. This is what happens when one reckless night collides with fate. When the stranger who made you forget becomes the one person you can't escape. Hit that like button if you need to see where this beautiful disaster leads, because Gianna Romano has no idea that Cassian Valentino isn't just any man. He's the heir to the most powerful Italian crime family in New York. And the worst part? She's about to become his stepsister. 3 weeks later, Gianna stood in her childhood bedroom in her mother's Upper East Side brownstone, zipping up a champagne-colored bridesmaid dress, and trying not to think about him. Cassian. The stranger. The man whose name she'd moaned like a prayer. She'd Googled him obsessively for 2 days after that night. Found nothing but a common name and a dead end. No social media. No trail. Like he was a ghost. Her mother knocked. Sweetheart? Dante's family just arrived. Dante Valentino. Her mother's fiancé. A distinguished silver-haired businessman who'd swept her mother off her feet 6 months ago after her father's death. Gianna had met him twice. Polite dinners where he was charming and respectful, and said all the right things about honoring her father's memory. Coming mom. Gianna checked her reflection. The heartbreak had carved her sharper. cheekbones more pronounced, eyes harder. Marcus had tried calling 47 times. She'd blocked him on the 48th. She descended the stairs to the sound of champagne corks popping and Italian being spoken in warm, rapid bursts. Her mother glowed in ivory silk, radiating happiness that made Gianna's chest ache. At least one of them got a second chance at love. Then she saw him. Cassian Valentino stood in her mother's living room in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than her car, talking to an older man with a vicious scar along his jaw. His gray eyes were focused, predatory. Nothing like the smoky desire from that night. The moment their gazes locked, the entire room tilted. Recognition flared in his eyes, shock, then something dark and hungry that made her knees weak. His conversation died mid-sentence. Gianna. Her mother materialized beside her, radiant. Come meet Dante's son. Cassian, this is my daughter. Cassian's mouth curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. He crossed the room like a predator, all controlled grace and barely leashed violence. Gianna. Her name on his lips was a blade. He extended his hand. A pleasure. She shook it. His grip was firm, professional, and his thumb traced a slow circle on her inner wrist that made her breath catch. The same place he'd kissed after making her come for the third time. The pleasure's mine, she managed, voice steady despite her racing heart. His eyes promised retribution. Promised more. Promised everything. Cassian runs our family's business operations, Dante said proudly. He'll be taking over soon. How impressive. Gianna pulled her hand back. What kind of business? Import-export, Cassian said smoothly. Shipping. Logistics. Very boring. Liar. She could see it in the way the other men in the room watched him, with fear and respect. In the gun-shaped bulge under his jacket. In the scarred knuckles he'd used to pin her wrists above her head. I'm sure it's fascinating, she said sweetly. The ceremony was torture. Gianna stood at the altar watching her mother marry Cassian's father, while Cassian stood on the groom's side, his eyes burning into her like a brand. When the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," Cassian's gaze dropped to her lips. She felt it like a touch. They were family now. Legally. Irrevocably. And judging by the dangerous promise in his eyes, that wasn't going to stop him. The reception blurred. Toasts dancing her mother's joy. Gianna smiled until her face hurt and drank champagne until the world softened. She was cornered by aunts asking about Marcus, explaining the breakup in sanitized terms that didn't include, found him fucking my best friend. Then Cassian was there, cutting through the crowd like Moses through the Red Sea. Dance with your new stepbrother, he murmured, already pulling her onto the floor. His hand splayed across her lower back, fingers pressing exactly where he knew she was sensitive. The music was slow, intimate. Too intimate. You didn't tell me your last name, Gianna hissed. You didn't ask, Bellissima. His breath ghosted over her ear. You were too busy begging me to fuck you harder. Heat flooded her face. That was a mistake. The only mistake was you leaving before I could make you breakfast. His hand slid lower, just above the curve of her ass. I wasn't done with you. Well, you are now. We're family. Step-family. No blood relation. His thumb traced her spine. Completely legal. Completely insane. Says the woman who let a stranger fuck her against a window. His lips brushed her temple. Who came on my fingers in under 2 minutes. Who scratched my back so hard I bled. She stumbled. He caught her, pulled her closer. I've been hard for you for 3 weeks, Gianna. Jerking off to the memory of your pussy clenching around my cock. And now you're living under the same roof. His voice dropped to gravel. This is going to be so much fun. Before she could respond, another man cut in, tall, dark-haired, with green eyes and a smile that belonged in cologne ads. May I? He asked Cassian. Tone polite but edged with challenge. Cassian's jaw tightened. Of course. Marco. The name was loaded with something. Old rivalry, bad blood. Marco De Luca swept Gianna into his arms, and she felt Cassian's glare burning into her back. You're the new sister, Marco said warmly. Lucky Cassian. You know each other? Our families do business together. We grew up competing for everything. His smile sharpened. Looks like he found something else worth fighting for. Marco DeLuca was charming, easy safe, everything Cassian wasn't. He made her laugh, complimented her dress, didn't look at her like he wanted to ruin her. You should come to my club next week, he said as the song ended. Sanctuary. Best cocktails in Manhattan. She's busy, Cassian said, appearing like a ghost. His hand circled her wrist. Family dinner. Every Sunday. New tradition. Marco's smile didn't falter. Shame. The invitation stands, Gianna. Anytime you want an escape. He kissed her hand. A gesture that made Cassian's grip tighten until her bones creaked and melted into the crowd. Friend of yours? Gianna asked. Not anymore. Cassian dragged her toward the terrace, past guests, through French doors into rain-soaked air. The moment they were alone, he slammed her against the marble pillar. What are you doing? She shoved at his chest. Immovable. Reminding you who you belong to. I don't belong to anyone. His hand wrapped around her throat, thumb pressing just enough to make her breath hitch. You came on my cock screaming my name. That makes you mine. You're engaged. The words exploded out of her. I heard your father talking about your fiancé. About a wedding in June. Something flickered in his eyes, surprise then calculation. You've been eavesdropping, Bellissima? Hard not to when they're discussing merger marriages and political alliances. Gianna's voice cracked. You should have told me. Would it have stopped you? His free hand fisted in her hair. Would you have said no if you'd known? The answer stuck in her throat. Because the truth was devastating. Probably not. She'd been that broken, that desperate to forget. Her name is Vittoria Moretti, Cassian continued, voice flat. Our fathers arranged it before we were born. She's beautiful, connected, and completely fucking irrelevant to what I feel when I look at you. That's not how this works. In my world it is. His thumb traced her pulse. The Morettis need our shipping routes. We need their political connections. Vittoria and I will marry, have children, maintain appearances. It's business. Then what am I? Mine. The word was absolute. Everything real in my fucking life. He kissed her, brutal, claiming, swallowing her protest. His tongue invaded her mouth, relearning every sensitive spot, and God help her, Gianna kissed back. Let him devour her. Let his hands map her body through champagne silk. When he finally pulled back, they were both breathing hard. This can't happen, she whispered. Already has Bellissima. He adjusted her dress, fixed her hair with surprising gentleness. We live in the same house now. Pass each other in hallways. Share family dinners. You think I can watch you exist and not want to fuck you on every available surface? You have to try. No. He kissed her forehead, the tenderness somehow more devastating than the violence. You walked into my life already broken. I put you back together. That makes you my responsibility. I'm not a project. You're my addiction. He stepped back, creating space that felt like abandonment. And I've never been good at denying myself. He walked back inside, leaving her shaking and furious and wet between her thighs. Gianna had thought Marcus cheating was the worst night of her life. She was wrong. This was worse. Because wanting Cassian Valentino wasn't just stupid or reckless. It was going to destroy them both. The next morning, Gianna woke in her childhood bedroom to the smell of espresso and the murmur of Italian downstairs. Her mother and Dante had left for a honeymoon in Tuscany, which meant 2 weeks alone in this brownstone with Cassian. Perfect. She pulled on jeans and a sweater, steeling herself for awkward small talk and strategic avoidance. Instead, she found Cassian in the kitchen reading Il Sole 24 or gun on the table beside his espresso cup like it was normal. Morning, Sorellina, he said without looking up. Little sister. The word was mockery and promise. Where's security? She'd noticed the men stationed outside, dark suits, vigilant eyes. Making sure no one kills me before I inherit the family business. He finally looked up, and the heat in his gaze could have melted steel. You sleep well. Fine. Liar. I heard you through the wall. He stood, prowled closer. Crying? Or touching yourself thinking about me? Gianna's face burned. You're delusional. He crowded her against the counter, one hand beside her hip. I jerked off to the sound. Came so hard I saw stars. Want to know what I imagined? No. You on your knees, choking on my cock while those pretty tears streamed down your face. His thumb caught her chin. You bent over this counter begging me to stop. You, riding me until you can't remember anything but my name. The front door opened. They sprang apart as one of Cassian's men entered, the scarred one from the wedding. He took in the scene with knowing eyes. Boss. Marco DeLuca is outside. Says he has a delivery for Miss Romano. Cassian's expression went glacial. Tell him to leave it with you. I'll get it myself, Gianna interrupted, needing air, needing distance from Cassian's gravitational pull. She slipped past both men, ignoring Cassian's quiet, careful bellissima. Marco stood on the front steps holding a massive bouquet of white roses, looking like a magazine spread in designer casual wear. Gianna, I wasn't sure you'd come out. These are beautiful. She took the flowers, buried her face in them. Thank you. Consider them a peace offering. I know family marriages can be complicated. His green eyes held understanding. Especially when there's history. We don't have history. You two were fucking with your eyes at the reception. Either you've already fucked for real, or you're about to. Marco's smile was sympathetic, not judgmental. And given that Cassian's engaged to Vittoria Moretti, I'm guessing it's messy. Gianna's stomach dropped. You know about that? Everyone in our world knows about the Valentino-Moretti merger. He leaned against his Maserati. What they don't know is that Cassian Valentino doesn't look at Vittoria the way he looked at you last night. It doesn't matter. Doesn't it? Marco's voice gentled. Look, I'm not trying to get in your business. But I've known Cassian since we were kids. He's dangerous, Gianna. Not just because of what he does for a living. Because of what he's capable of when he wants something. And you're telling me this because? Because you seem nice. And nice people don't last long in his world. He pulled out a card, pressed it into her palm. That's my private number. If you ever need an exit, call me. Behind her, Gianna felt Cassian's presence like a storm front. DeLuca. His voice could have cut glass. You've delivered your flowers. Time to go. Marco's smile didn't waver. Just being neighborly. See you around, Gianna. He drove off, and Cassian yanked her back inside with enough force to bruise. What did he say to you? That you're dangerous. That I should stay away. She threw the roses on the counter. He's not wrong. Marco DeLuca is a snake who wants what I have. Cassian's hands framed her face. He's been trying to undermine me since we were teenagers. This. The flowers the concern? It's strategy. Or maybe he's just being kind. No one in my world is kind without a reason. His forehead pressed to hers. Promise me you won't see him alone. You don't get to give me orders. Promise. Me. Each word was granite. Why? Because I'm yours. She shoved at him. You can't have it both ways, Cassian. You can't fuck me and then marry someone else. You can't claim me and expect me to just wait while you build a life with another woman. Vittoria means nothing. Then break it off. The words hung between them like a grenade. Cassian's expression shuddered, and for the first time he looked trapped. I can't. Why not? Because the Morettis control half the judges in New York. Because without their political protection, my family's businesses get raided, frozen, destroyed. His voice was raw. Because my father will disown me, and Marco DeLuca will swoop in to take everything I've worked for. Because it's not just about me, it's about hundreds of people who depend on this alliance. So I'm just supposed to be your dirty secret. You're supposed to be patient. He caught her face again, desperate now. Give me time to figure this out. To find a way. There is no way. Gianna pulled free. You're getting married in 4 months. I heard Vittoria talking to your father. June 15th. Cathedral wedding, 500 guests, merger finalized. Cassian's jaw worked. You're right. There's no clean solution. So here's what I'm offering. Be with me anyway. Let me worship you in secret. Let me make you come until you forget your name. And when I marry Vittoria, nothing changes between us. Except everything. Except nothing that matters. His hands slid down her arms. She'll have my name and my children. You'll have the rest of me. The real parts. Gianna laughed bitterly. Do you hear yourself? You want me to be your mistress. I want you to be mine in every way that fucking counts. The explosion of rage made her flinch. Cassian immediately gentled, but his eyes were wild. Vittoria Moretti will never know me. She'll get a performance. You get the truth. That's not enough. Then what is? Tell me what you need and I'll give it to you. I need you to choose me. Her voice cracked. Really choose me. Not after the wedding, not in secret, not as second place. Me. Only me. The silence was devastating. I can't, he finally whispered. Then we're done. She walked away, leaving him in the kitchen with her mother's roses dying on the marble, and the taste of ashes in both their mouths. That night, Gianna lay in bed staring at Marco DeLuca's card. Cassian's words echoing in her skull. She's beautiful, connected, and completely fucking irrelevant to what I feel when I look at you. She grabbed her phone, pulled up Instagram, searched Vittoria Moretti. The woman who appeared was devastating. Dark hair, classical Italian features, wearing couture-like armor. Every photo was calculated perfection. Charity galas, fashion shows, standing beside Cassian looking like they'd been carved from the same marble. Comments gushed about the perfect power couple, the merger of dynasties, how their children would rule New York. Gianna scrolled until she found a video from last week, Vittoria and Cassian at some fundraiser, his hand on her lower back, whispering something that made her laugh. It was performative. Gianna could see that. But it was also real enough. Real enough that 4 months from now, Vittoria would wear white and Cassian would slide a ring on her finger and promise forever. And Gianna would be what? The stepsister? The shameful secret? The girl who let herself be second choice? She threw her phone across the room and cried for the second time in a month. Not for Marcus. For herself. For the girl who'd thought one reckless night could save her. A knock. Gianna. She didn't answer. Cassian entered anyway, because apparently locks meant nothing to him. He took one look at her tear-streaked face, the phone with Vittoria's image still glowing, and his expression shattered. Bellissima. Get out. Instead, he sat on her bed, pulled her into his lap despite her struggles, held her while she broke. I saw the video, she sobbed into his shoulder. You looked happy. With her. I'm a good actor. His hand stroked her hair. I've had 28 years of practice pretending to be someone I'm not. What if she loves you? She doesn't. She loves power and status and the idea of being a Valentino. His lips pressed to her temple. Do you know what she said when our fathers announced the engagement? Good. He's attractive enough, and the merger makes sense. Not love. Strategy. That doesn't make this okay. Nothing about this is okay. He tilted her face up, thumbs wiping her tears. I'm in love with my stepsister. I'm engaged to a woman I feel nothing for. I run an empire built on violence and blood money. Nothing in my life is okay except you. The words hung between them. I'm in love with you. Unacknowledged but deafening. You don't love me, Gianna whispered. You barely know me. I know you taste like honey and rage. I know you make this sound when you come that ruins me. I know you're brave enough to walk away from an engagement, but scared of what you feel for me. His forehead pressed to hers. I know 3 weeks without you felt like drowning. Cassian, give me until June. Let me figure out how to break the merger without destroying everything. Let me prove I'll choose you. And if you can't? His smile was broken. Then I'll marry Vittoria and spend the rest of my life wanting what I can't have. But at least give me the chance to fight for you first. It was a terrible deal. Reckless and doomed and completely insane. Gianna kissed him anyway. Their mouths collided with all the desperation of the past 24 hours. His hands fisting in her hair, her nails scraping his scalp, both of them trying to crawl inside each other's skin. Say yes, he growled against her lips. Say you're mine until June. This is crazy. Say it. He bit her lower lip, sucked away the sting. Let me have you. All of you. However I can. Until June, she breathed. Then you decide. Her or me. No more halfway. Deal. He sealed it with his body, stripping her slowly, worshipping every inch of revealed skin with his mouth. When he finally pushed inside her, they both went still, overwhelmed by the feeling of coming home. Missed this, Cassian groaned, forehead pressed between her breasts. Missed you. Every fucking second. Gianna couldn't speak, could only hold him while he moved inside her, slow and devastating, like he was trying to memorize her from the inside out. You feel like salvation, he whispered. Like the only good thing I've ever done. She came apart quietly, trembling in his arms, and he followed seconds later with her name on his lips like a prayer. The next 2 weeks were stolen moments and dangerous proximity. Cassian would corner her in the hallway, pin her against walls, make her come on his fingers while his hand covered her mouth. She'd slip into his room at night, let him fuck her slow and sweet, fall asleep in his arms. They were careful. His men knew to look the other way. The household staff were loyal to silence. But it was a ticking time bomb. And they both knew it. Marco DeLuca called twice. Gianna didn't answer, but Cassian's jaw would tighten every time his name appeared on her phone. He's persistent, Cassian noted one morning over espresso. He's being friendly. He's circling you like prey. Cassian's fingers drummed the table. Marco doesn't do anything without an angle. If he's pursuing you, it's to hurt me. Not everything is about you. In my world, everything is about power. And you. He pulled her onto his lap. You're my greatest weakness. Which makes you the perfect target. The words should have scared her. Instead, they made her feel powerful. See. Then protect me, she murmured against his mouth. With my life, bellissima. He proved it that afternoon when a black SUV followed them to her yoga class. Cassian's security detail materialized from nowhere, boxed the vehicle in, and had 3 men on the ground before Gianna could blink. DeLuca's men, Cassian's lead guard reported. Just watching. Tell Marco if he wants to play he should call first. Cassian's voice was ice. This is a warning. Next time they disappear. Gianna's hands shook. He's really that dangerous? The DeLuca family makes their money in arms dealing and human trafficking. Marco acts civilized, but he's got bodies buried from here to New Jersey. Cassian's arm circled her waist. And he's decided you're worth starting a war over. Why? Because you're mine. And he's spent his entire life trying to take what's mine. That night, Vittoria Moretti called. Gianna was in Cassian's bed when his phone lit up. Vittoria Moretti, with a photo of her in diamonds. Answer it, Gianna whispered. Gianna. I want to hear how you talk to her. His expression was pained, but he answered. Vittoria. Cassian, darling. Her voice was cultured, cool. Father wants to know if you've chosen the caterer. The wedding planner needs an answer by Monday. I'll handle it. You always say that, but these decisions require both of us. A pause. When are you coming to dinner? Mother wants to discuss the honeymoon. She's thinking Amalfi Coast. Gianna's stomach churned. Honeymoon. Right. Because Cassian marrying Vittoria meant sharing a bed, making children, building a life. I'll check my schedule. You've been avoiding me for weeks. Vittoria's voice sharpened. Is there a problem I should know about? Gianna held her breath. This was it. The moment Cassian could tell the truth. Could say there's someone else. Could choose. No problem, he said flatly. I'll come for dinner Sunday. The call ended. Silence crushed the room. Gianna. You're having dinner with her on Sunday. Her voice was hollow. Discussing your honeymoon. It's appearances. It's your fucking future. She scrambled out of bed, grabbed her clothes. You're planning a life with her while I'm naked in your bed. How is that okay? It's not. Then stop it. Call her back. Tell her the truth. Cassian's expression hardened. I told you. I need time to figure out how to break this without destroying everything. You're not trying to break it. You're maintaining it. Tears burned her eyes. You're going to marry her, aren't you? This whole choose you by June thing is bullshit. You're already made your choice. That's not true. Prove it. Skip the dinner. Tell Vittoria you can't marry her. Do one thing that proves I matter more. Cassian's jaw worked. I can't skip the dinner. Her father is finalizing port contracts this week. If I insult them, There's always a reason. Gianna yanked on her jeans. Always an excuse. You know what? Marco was right. You're dangerous. Not because you're violent. Because you make me believe impossible things might be possible. She left. Cassian didn't follow. And Gianna spent the rest of the night in her room, staring at Marco DeLuca's card, wondering if there was another way. The next morning she called him. Gianna. Marco sounded surprised. Please. I was starting to think you'd blocked me. I need to get out of this house for a while. Is your invitation still open? Always. I'll send a car. 7 tonight. Perfect. She hung up before she could change her mind. Before she could think about Cassian's face when he found out. Before she could remember that in the Mafia world, choosing Marco DeLuca was choosing war. Sanctuary was everything Marco had promised. Exclusive, elegant, with a jazz trio and cocktails that tasted like heaven. He greeted her in a private booth, standing when she arrived like a gentleman. You look beautiful. Thank you. Gianna slid into the booth, accepted the martini he'd already ordered. I needed this. Rough week. You could say that. Marco studied her. Cassian's being difficult. Cassian's being Cassian. She sipped her drink. Tell me about you instead. How does the DeLuca empire work? He laughed. Straight to business. I like that. He leaned back. My family controls the eastern seaboard arms trade. Guns mostly. Some explosives. We supply to whoever pays, no politics. That doesn't bother you? Not knowing what they're used for. Would you rather the weapons come from cartels? From terrorists? Marco's smile was sharp. We're the lesser evil, Gianna. We maintain order. Without families like mine, the streets would be chaos. It was the same logic Cassian used to justify shipping drugs. To justify murders and extortion, and all the blood on his hands. You all tell yourselves pretty stories, Gianna murmured. And what story are you telling yourself? Marco's hand covered hers. That Cassian Valentino will choose you over his empire? That love conquers all. Don't. I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm trying to save you pain. His thumb stroked her knuckles. Cassian will marry Vittoria. He'll do his duty. And you'll be the secret he keeps in the shadows until you can't take it anymore. You don't know that. I know him. We're not that different, he and I. Marco's eyes were sad. We're both men who do terrible things for power. The difference? I'm honest about it. And I wouldn't make you settle for half my heart. The words landed like blows. Because Marco was right. About all of it. What are you offering? Gianna asked. A real relationship. Public. No hiding. He lifted her hand, kissed her palm. I won't lie. My world is just as dangerous as Cassian's. But I'll never make you second place. I'll never promise you forever, and then marry someone else. You barely know me. I know enough. You're beautiful, smart, and brave enough to walk into a mafia-owned club alone. His smile was warm. I'd like to know more. If you'll let me. It was tempting. God, it was tempting. Marco was safe harbor in a storm. The rational choice. The one who wouldn't break her. But her heart was a traitor. Because even now, furious at Cassian, she wanted him. Only him. I need to think. The club door exploded open. Cassian stormed in with 4 armed men, his expression apocalyptic. The music stopped. Patrons froze. Get away from her, Cassian snarled at Marco. Marco didn't move. We're just having drinks. You're making a play for what's mine. Cassian's gun appeared in his hand. Stand up. Now. Gianna jumped between them. Put the gun down. Move, Gianna. No. You don't get to do this. He's using you to get to me. Maybe I'm using him to get away from you. The words erupted from somewhere deep and desperate. You don't own me, Cassian. You're engaged. You made your choice. So I'm making mine. The pain that flashed across his face was devastating. Then it hardened into something cold and final. If you walk out of here with him, Cassian said quietly, we're done. No more second chances. No more waiting until June. You choose him, you lose me. Permanently. Marco stood, positioned himself beside her. Don't let him threaten you into compliance. Shut the fuck up, DeLuca. Cassian's eyes never left Gianna. This is between me and her. The entire club held its breath. Gianna stood between two armed mafia heirs, her heart hammering, her future balanced on this single moment. Choose Cassian. Go back to stolen moments and broken promises, to being his secret, to watching him marry another woman. Choose Marco. Escape the heartbreak, maybe find something real with someone who could offer her daylight. Choose herself. Walk away from both of them, from this violent world, from the danger. But her feet moved toward Cassian. Always toward Cassian. Even when it was stupid. Even when it would destroy her. I hate you, she whispered when she reached him. I know. He holstered his gun, pulled her against his chest. Hate me all you want, Bellissima. You're still mine. Marco's expression was unreadable. This isn't over, Valentino. Yes, it is. Cassian's arm was iron around her waist. Stay away from her. That's not a request. He dragged her out into the rain, shoved her into his car, and the moment the door closed, he was on her, kissing her like he was drowning, hands shaking as they framed her face. Don't ever fucking do that again, he growled against her mouth. Don't go to him. Don't make me choose between killing my oldest enemy and keeping you safe. You can't control me. I know. His forehead pressed to hers, breath ragged. That's what terrifies me. You have all the power, Gianna. You could break me with a word. Walk away and I'd be nothing. Then break your engagement. I will. The promise was raw. I swear to God, I'll find a way. Just don't leave me. Not for Marco. Not for anyone. She should have said no. Should have demanded action instead of more promises. But she was an addict, and Cassian was her drug of choice. Until June, she whispered. You have until June. I only need until tomorrow. He kissed her again, desperate. I'm calling my father tonight. Telling him the merger's off. Cassian, you can't, your family. Fuck my family. Fuck the merger. I'd rather lose everything than lose you. Hope bloomed in her chest, terrifying and beautiful. You mean that? Every word. They didn't make it home. Cassian pulled over on a side street, climbed into the back seat with her, and made love to her with reverence that felt like worship. When she came, he was there with her, both of them shattering and whole at once. Ti amo, he whispered in her hair. I love you. I should have said it weeks ago. Say it again. Ti amo, Gianna Romano. You're the only real thing in my life. She fell asleep in his arms, believing him, trusting that tomorrow he'd choose her. She was wrong. The next morning, Gianna woke to raised voices downstairs. Dante Valentino's roar rattled windows. You will not disrespect the Moretti family. I don't love her. Love is irrelevant. This merger protects everything we've built. I don't care. A slap. Then silence. Gianna crept to the stairs, heart in her throat. Cassian stood in the foyer, cheek red, facing his father's fury while three capos watched with careful neutrality. You care, Dante said quietly. Because if you don't marry Vittoria, the Morettis will pull their political protection. Every judge, every cop, every politician they own will turn on us. We'll be indicted within a month. Then we fight. With what? Our shipping routes are legal only because of Moretti influence. Our money laundering operations exist because of Moretti-controlled banks. Dante's voice was granite. You end this engagement, you end this family. Everyone who depends on us, the drivers, the guards, the hundreds of people on our payroll, they all go down. There has to be another way. There isn't. Dante's hand landed on Cassian's shoulder, heavy. I know it's hard. But you're a Valentino. We do what's necessary, not what we want. You'll marry Vittoria. You'll give her children. And whatever else you need. His eyes flicked toward the stairs, toward Gianna. You do discreetly. Cassian's gaze found her. The devastation there could have leveled cities. Gianna. She ran. Back to her room, grabbed her phone, Marco's card. Dialed before she could think. Gianna. He sounded surprised. I need that exit. Today. Now. What happened? Cassian can't choose me. His father won't let him. Tears streamed down her face. I can't stay here and watch him marry her. I can't. I'll send a car in 20 minutes. Pack light. I have a place in Connecticut, safe house, completely private. Thank you. Her door crashed open. Cassian filled the frame, wild-eyed, desperate. Don't. He saw the phone. Don't fucking call him. Why not? You just agreed to marry Vittoria. I didn't agree to anything. You didn't say no. She threw the phone at him. Your father gave you permission to keep me as your mistress and you just stood there. I was trying to figure out. There's nothing to figure out. Gianna's voice cracked. You're not strong enough to defy him, which means I'm not important enough to fight for. Cassian crossed the room, grabbed her shoulders. That's not true. Then prove it. Right now. Walk downstairs and tell your father you're not marrying Vittoria. Tell him I matter more than his fucking empire. Silence. Cassian's hands trembled against her skin. I thought so. She pulled free. Marco's sending a car. I'm leaving. If you get in that car, I'll start a war. His voice was lethal. I'll burn DeLuca's territory to the ground. I'll kill every man loyal to him. I'll destroy everything he's built until there's nothing left. You can't. Watch me. His eyes were dead. You're mine, Gianna. If I can't have you, no one can. Especially not him. The possessiveness should have terrified her. Instead, it made her furious. You're insane. For you? Absolutely. He backed her against the wall. You want me to choose? Fine. I choose you. But you don't get to leave. You don't get to run to my enemy and expect me to let you go. That's not a choice, that's imprisonment. Call it whatever helps you sleep at night. His mouth grazed her ear. But you're staying. Even if I have to lock you in this room. If you're still here, you already know this isn't just a story. It's a descent into a world where love and violence are the same language, where protection looks like possession, and surrender feels like power. Cassian's running out of ways to keep Gianna safe without keeping her captive. She's running out of reasons to fight him when fighting feels like the only thing keeping her alive. Subscribe, because the people who stay for this kind of darkness understand that the most dangerous thing you can do is fall for someone who was never supposed to let you live. You can't keep me here. I can do whatever I want. I'm Cassian Valentino. But his hands were gentle as they framed her face. Please, don't go to him. Let me fix this. How? Your father won't let you break the engagement. Then I'll find another way. A loophole. Something. Desperation bled through. Just give me more time. Time for what? For me to watch you marry her? For me to become your mistress? Gianna shoved at his chest. I deserve more than scraps of your attention. You deserve everything. His voice broke. You deserve a man who can give you daylight and honesty and a future without violence. But you're stuck with me. A man who kills for a living. Who'll marry a woman he doesn't love to protect an empire built on blood. Who's so fucking obsessed with you he'd rather see you dead than with someone else. That's sick. I know. He kissed her forehead. But it's the truth. I'm not the good guy, Bellissima. I'm the monster you should have run from the moment you met me. Gianna's anger crumbled. Because Cassian wasn't wrong. He was dangerous, possessive, morally bankrupt. He was also the only person who'd ever made her feel alive. What are we doing? She whispered. Destroying each other. His thumb traced her lips. Want to stop? I don't know how. Me neither. They stood there, foreheads together, breathing the same air. Outside, a car horn honked, Marco's driver. Cassian's entire body tensed. Tell him you're not coming. And then what? Just accept that you're marrying Vittoria. Accept that I'll spend my life finding ways to be with you. That nothing about this is fair or right, but it's all we have. His hands tightened on her waist. Or leave. Get in that car. Let Marco DeLuca take you somewhere I can't follow. And I'll spend the rest of my life wondering if you're alive, or if I need to kill him for touching you. The choice should have been simple. Leave the toxic situation. Choose safety over chaos. But Gianna texted Marco. Asterisk can't come. I'm Sodakropka. Cassian's relief was palpable. He kissed her with devastating tenderness, like she'd just saved his life. Thank you, he breathed against her mouth. Don't thank me. I'm still furious. I know. He picked her up, carried her to the bed. Let me make it up to you. He did. For hours. With his mouth and hands in cock, wringing orgasms from her body until she was boneless and crying and completely wrecked. That afternoon, Vittoria Moretti called again. This time, Cassian put it on speaker. Darling, I'm at the jeweler. They need you to approve the wedding bands. Gianna's chest constricted. Wedding buns. Physical proof of vows. Send me pictures, Cassian said flatly. This requires your presence. Vittoria. His voice hardened. I have business today. Send pictures or choose yourself. I don't care which. A pause. You've been very distant lately. I've been busy. Too busy for your fiancé? Her tone sharpened. Father mentioned you're considering backing out. I assured him that was ridiculous. Was I wrong? Cassian's eyes found Gianna's. She held her breath. You weren't wrong, he finally said. I'll be there for the wedding. Something in Gianna died. Even after everything, the promises, the desperation, the love confessions, he still chose duty. She pulled away. Cassian ended the call, reached for her. Gianna. Don't touch me. Listen. No. You listen. She was shaking now. I believed you. When you said you'd choose me, I believed you. But you just told your fiancé you'll be there for the wedding. You're still planning to marry her. I'm buying time. For what? What magical solution is going to appear between now and June 15th? Cassian's jaw worked. I don't know yet. Exactly. Gianna stood, started dressing. You know what the real problem is? You don't want to choose. You want both. The empire and me. Vittoria's connections and my body. Duty and desire. But life doesn't work that way. In my world, it does. Not in mine. She whirled on him. I'm not built for this. For sharing you. For being the secret. I thought I could be, but I can't. So what are you saying? I'm saying that after you marry Vittoria, we're done. No more sneaking around. No more stolen moments. Tears streamed down her face. You'll have your wife and your empire and I'll have my dignity. You're giving me an ultimatum. I'm giving you reality. She headed for the door. Enjoy your wedding, Cassian. I hope she's worth it. This time, he let her go. For 3 days, they didn't speak. Gianna moved through the brownstone like a ghost, avoiding Cassian's floor, eating meals in her room. He tried once, knocked on her door at 2 a.m., whispered please through the wood, but she didn't answer. Marco called daily. She let them go to voicemail. Her mother and Dante returned from Italy, glowing and oblivious. Family dinners became torture. Sitting across from Cassian, pretending they were strangers, while his eyes burned into her. Then Vittoria came to dinner. She arrived in Valentino couture, diamonds at her throat, looking like she owned the world. Kissed Cassian's cheek with familiar ease. Complimented the brownstone. Charmed Gianna's mother. You must be Gianna, Vittoria said warmly. Cassian's mentioned you. Has he? Gianna's smile was plastic. He said you're adjusting well to the family. Vittoria's hand rested on Cassian's arm. Proprietary. It must be strange, gaining a stepbrother. Strange doesn't begin to cover it. Throughout dinner, Gianna watched them. Watched Vittoria laugh at Cassian's comments, touch his hand, discuss their wedding plans with practiced ease. Watched Cassian play the dutiful fiancé, attentive without being passionate. It was a masterclass in performance. And Gianna wanted to scream. After dessert, Vittoria pulled out her phone. I have to show you the venue. Cassian hasn't seen it yet. The photos were breathtaking. A cathedral in Tuscany, all ancient stone and stained glass. The place where Cassian would promise forever to another woman. It's beautiful, Gianna's mother gushed. We're flying the entire family to Italy for the week, Vittoria continued. The wedding's on Saturday, but we'll have events leading up. A welcome dinner, the rehearsal, a reception on our estate afterward. How romantic, Gianna managed. You'll come, of course, Vittoria said. As family. I insist. The trap closed. Gianna would have to watch. Not just the wedding, but all of it. Every moment of Cassian committing to Vittoria. I wouldn't miss it, she lied. After dinner, she escaped to the terrace for air. found Cassian there, smoking, staring at the city. "You're coming to Italy," he said without turning. "Your fiancé invited me. Would be rude to decline." "Gianna. She seems nice." The words tasted like poison. "You make a good couple." He spun, grabbed her arms. "Don't do that. Don't act like this doesn't destroy me too. Does it? Because you seem fine. Playing house with Vittoria, planning your Tuscan wedding, living your best life. I'm dying inside. Then stop the wedding." She shoved him. "If you're so destroyed, if you love me so much, fucking stop it." "I can't." "You won't." She was crying now. "There's a difference." Cassian's composure cracked. "You want to know the truth? Fine. If I break this engagement, the Morettas will retaliate. They'll go after my family's assets, freeze our accounts, use their judges to indict my father and every capo we have. We'll be destroyed within 6 months. So sacrifice me instead." "I'm sacrificing myself." His voice broke. "I'm marrying a woman I don't love to protect people I'm responsible for. I'm spending the rest of my life in a prison of duty, while the only person I want is 10 feet away calling me a coward. You think that doesn't kill me? Then let me go." "I can't do that either." He pulled her against him. "You're the only thing keeping me sane. Take you away and I'm just a monster doing monstrous things." They stood there, clinging to each other, both crying now. It was the most honest they'd been since this started. "I hate this," Gianna whispered. "Me too. I hate you." "I know. I love you." "I know that too." He kissed her temple. "And it's the worst thing that's ever happened to either of us." They made love on the terrace, desperate and grieving, both knowing it was probably the last time. When she came, it felt like goodbye. The next morning, Marco De Luca appeared at the brownstone. Cassian's guards moved to intercept, but Marco raised his hands. "I'm here to talk. Just talk." Cassian met him on the front steps, Gianna watching from the window. "This is neutral ground." "Nothing with you is neutral, De Luca." Cassian's hand rested on his gun. "Say what you came to say." "I'm making Gianna an offer." Marco's voice carried. "A real one. I'll take her out of this city, set her up somewhere safe, give her a life that doesn't involve watching you marry another woman. Touch her and I'll kill you. You'll be married, Valentino. What claim do you have?" Marco's smile was sharp. "She deserves better than being your dirty secret. I can give her that." "This is you playing politics. This is me offering her an escape from your selfishness." Marco's gaze found Gianna in the window. "The choice is hers, not yours." He left. Cassian stood there for a long moment, jaw tight, before turning to find Gianna. She was already packing. "You're not seriously considering this." "Why not?" She threw clothes into a suitcase. "You've made your choice. I'm making mine. Marco doesn't care about you." "Maybe not. But he's offering me a way out. A future that doesn't involve being your mistress." Gianna's hands shook. "I can't do this anymore, Cassian. Can't watch you marry her. Can't be the secret you keep. Can't destroy myself loving you. So you'll run to my enemy." "I'll run to anyone who offers me dignity." She whirled on him. "You want me to stay? Give me a reason. One real reason that isn't wait, or trust me or I'll figure it out." Cassian stared at her, and she could see the war in his eyes. Duty versus desire. Empire versus love. "I'm going to the Moretti estate tomorrow," he finally said. "Meeting Vittoria's father to finalize the merger details." "Good for you. Come with me." Gianna froze. "What? Come with me. I'll introduce you as my stepsister. We'll have dinner with the Morettas. And afterward, I'll tell them the engagement is off." His voice was steady now, certain. "No more delays. No more excuses. I'll blow up the merger, face the consequences and choose you. Publicly. Irrevocably. You can't, your father will disown me." "I know." Cassian crossed to her, took her hands. "I'll lose the family business. Maybe go to prison when the Morettas pull their protection. Definitely make an enemy of one of the most powerful families in New York." "Then why?" "Because I'd rather have you and nothing else than everything without you." He kissed her knuckles. "I've been a coward. Trying to have it both ways. But you're right. Life doesn't work that way. So I'm choosing you. Only you. No matter what it costs. Gianna's heart hammered. You're serious? Completely. What about Marco's offer? Forget Marco. This isn't about him. Cassian's forehead pressed to hers. This is me finally being the man you deserve. The one who fights for you instead of making excuses. It was everything she'd wanted. Everything she'd demanded. So why did terror flood her veins? If you do this, there's no going back. I know. Your family will never forgive you. I know. You could lose everything. I already told you, Bellissima. You're the only thing I can't afford to lose. He cupped her face. So tomorrow we face the Morettas together. And I end this engagement once and for all. Gianna kissed him, poured every ounce of love and fear and desperate hope into it. Okay, she breathed. Together. They spent that night tangled in each other, making promises with their bodies they prayed they could keep. Neither of them slept much. Both knew tomorrow would change everything. Neither knew just how much. The Moretti estate was a fortress in Westchester. 20 acres of manicured grounds, guards with automatic weapons, security that made the Valentinos look casual. Gianna wore a demure dress, played the perfect stepsister. Vittoria greeted them warmly, looped her arm through Cassian's, led them to a dining room that could seat 30. Carlo Moretti, Vittoria's father, was a bull of a man with cold eyes and a smile that never reached them. Cassian, so good to see you. They clasped hands. And this must be Dante's new stepdaughter. Gianna, she offered. Thank you for having me. Dinner was excruciating. Business talk veiled as pleasantries. Discussion of shipping routes and port access. Vittoria playing hostess with practiced grace, touching Cassian's arm, laughing at his comments. Gianna pushed food around her plate and tried not to throw up. Then Carlo stood, raised his glass. A toast. To the union of our families. May this merger bring prosperity to both our houses. Everyone drank. Except Cassian. He stood. Actually, I need to discuss something. Of course. Carlo's smile sharpened. Business or pleasure? Personal. Cassian's hand found Gianna's under the table. This engagement. I can't go through with it. The room went silent. Vittoria's face drained of color. Excuse me. Carlo's voice dropped to permafrost. I have feelings for someone else. It wouldn't be fair to Vittoria to marry her while. Fair. Carlo's laugh was ugly. You think this is about fairness? This merger represents 2 years of negotiation. Millions in joint ventures. Political alliances that protect both our families. I understand, but nothing. Carlo's fist hit the table. You will marry my daughter, Cassian. This was decided before you were born. I am sorry. Who is she? Vittoria's voice was ice. Her eyes found Gianna. It's her, isn't it? Your stepsister? Silence. Cassian's hand tightened on Gianna's. Oh my God. Vittoria laughed bitterly. You're fucking your stepsister. How delightfully depraved. Vittoria. Don't. She stood, magnificent in her rage. I've tolerated your distance. Your cold formality. Told myself you'd warm up after the wedding. But this. She gestured at Gianna. You humiliate me by bringing your whore to my family home. Gianna flinched. Cassian was on his feet instantly. Watch your fucking mouth. Or what? Vittoria's smile was vicious. You'll end the engagement? Please. Go ahead. See what happens when my father pulls every judge, every politician, every protection your family has enjoyed for 20 years. See how long you last when the FBI raids every Valentino property at once. Carlo's phone was already out. I'm calling your father. This ends now. Do it, Cassian said. I don't care. The door burst open. Marco DeLuca strode in with 6 armed men. And Gianna's world tilted. Sorry I'm late, Marco said casually. Traffic was hell. What is this? Carlo demanded. A coup. Marco's gun appeared. Cassian, move away from the girl. Cassian stepped in front of Gianna. What the fuck are you doing here? What I've been planning for months. Marco's smile was sharp. Did you really think I cared about Gianna? She's leverage. Bait. And you took it so beautifully. Betrayal crashed through Gianna. You used me. Of course I used you. You walked right into my club, heartbroken and desperate. Made it so easy. Marco's eyes were cold. Every call, every offer of help. All of it designed to drive a wedge between Cassian and the Moretti alliance. And look, it worked. He just destroyed his engagement right in front of Don Moretti. You son of a bitch, Cassian lunged. Two of Marco's men grabbed him, forced him to his knees. Here's what happens next, Marco continued. The Morettis withdraw their protection from the Valentinos. Without that, Dante's empire crumbles. And the De Luca family swoops in to buy the pieces for pennies on the dollar. This is an act of war, Carlo growled. It's business. Marcos shrugged. Nothing personal. Well, except for Cassian. That part's very personal. Let her go, Cassian snarled. She has nothing to do with this. She has everything to do with it. She's the reason you're on your knees. Marco grabbed Gianna's arm, pulled her close. And now she's my insurance policy. You come after me, I kill her. You rebuild your empire, I kill her. You so much as breathe wrong. I'll kill you first, Cassian promised. I'll burn your entire fucking family to ash. Try. It'll be fun. Marco started dragging Gianna toward the door. She fought, but his grip was iron. Cassian. Terror clawed her throat. I'll find you, his voice cracked. I swear to God I'll find you. A gunshot. One of Marco's men went down, blood blooming on his chest. Dante Valentino stood in the doorway with a smoking gun and 20 armed soldiers. Let go of my son's woman, Dante said quietly. Now. Marco's smile didn't falter. You shoot me, my men kill her. And then we kill them. And then we kill everyone you've ever loved. Dante's voice was permafrost. Is she worth your entire bloodline, De Luca? A standoff. Guns pointed in every direction. Gianna's heart hammered against her ribs. Then Vittoria spoke. Let her go, Marco. Everyone turned. Vittoria stood beside her father, expression unreadable. This isn't your fight, Marco started. It became my fight when you used my engagement to wage your war. Vittoria's eyes were steel. And I don't appreciate being collateral damage. She nodded to her father. Carlo's men moved, guns trained on Marco's soldiers. You're outnumbered, Carlo said. Release the girl. Leave. And pray I don't declare vendetta for you manipulating my daughter. Marco's jaw tightened. Then he shoved Gianna toward Cassian and back toward the exit, hands raised. This isn't over, Valentino. Yes, it is. Cassian pulled Gianna behind him. You just made an enemy of 3 families. The Valentinos, the Morettis, and every ally we have combined. You're done, De Luca. Marco's smile was poison. We'll see. He vanished into the night. His men followed. The moment they were gone, Cassian crushed Gianna against him, hands shaking as they roamed her body checking for injuries. Are you hurt? Did he touch you? I swear to God. I've fine. She was trembling. I've fine. You're not fine. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her mouth. Fuck, I almost lost you. Cassian. Dante's voice cut through. We need to talk. Cassian reluctantly released her, turned to face his father and Carlo Moretti. The two dons looked at each other, some unspoken communication passing between them. The engagement is off, Carlo finally said. Vittoria gasped. Father. Marco De Luca just used our merger as a weapon. That makes it compromised. Carlo's eyes were calculating. But we still need the alliance. The protection. The combined strength. What are you suggesting? Dante asked. A different merger. Carlo looked at Gianna, then Cassian. Your son clearly loves this girl. And she's your stepdaughter, which makes her Valentino family. Marrying her to Cassian solidifies the bond between our households just as effectively as marrying Vittoria would. Gianna's lungs stopped working. You want me to marry Gianna? Cassian said slowly. I want the merger, Carlo corrected. I don't care which Valentino marries in. As long as our families are legally bound. He turned to Vittoria. Unless you want to insist on the original arrangement? Vittoria looked at Cassian, really looked at him. At the way he held Gianna. The desperation in his eyes. No, she said quietly. I don't want a man who loves someone else. I deserve better than that. You do, Cassian agreed. I'm sorry. Don't apologize for loving her. Apologize for wasting my time pretending you could marry me while wanting her. Vittoria's smile was sad. But I appreciate you finally being honest. So it's settled, Dante said. Cassian and Gianna marry. The alliance proceeds. Everyone wins. Wait. Gianna found her voice. Don't I get a say in this? All eyes turned to her. Cassian's hand found hers, squeezed gently. You always have a say, Bellissima. But I'm hoping you'll say yes. You want to marry me to complete a business merger. I want to marry you because I love you. The merger is a convenient excuse. His smile was crooked. But if you say no, we'll figure something else out. I won't force this. Gianna looked around the room. At Dante, who'd just saved her life. At Carlo and Vittoria, powerful strangers offering her a way to keep Cassian without destroying his world. At Cassian, gray eyes burning with hope and love and desperate prayer. This was insane. Marrying into the Mafia. Binding herself to violence and blood and danger. But walking away felt like death. Yes, she whispered. I'll marry you. Cassian's relief was palpable. He pulled her into his arms, kissed her like she'd just saved the world. Thank you, he breathed against her mouth. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't thank me yet. She pulled back. If I'm doing this, we do it right. No secrets. No mistresses. No half measures. You marry me, you're mine. Completely. Always have been, Bellissima. They sealed it with a kiss that made Vittoria look away and Dante clear his throat. Well then, Carlo said. I believe we have a wedding to plan. How does June 15th sound? Gianna laughed through tears. The same date Cassian was supposed to marry Vittoria. Poetic justice. Perfect, Cassian said. Absolutely perfect. The next 2 months were a whirlwind. Gianna moved into Cassian's bedroom officially. Met with wedding planners. Learned the intricate politics of mafia alliances. Discovered that becoming a Valentino meant security details and background checks and protocol she'd never imagined. It also meant being loved with an intensity that bordered on obsession. Cassian was insatiable, making love to her every morning, stealing moments throughout the day, worshipping her body every night. Like he was making up for lost time. Like he still couldn't believe she'd stayed. Marco DeLuca went to ground. Rumor had it he fled to Chicago, his New York territories carved up by the Valentinos and Morettis in retaliation for his attempted coup. He'll come back, Cassian warned one night. Men like Marco don't stay down. Let him try. Gianna traced the tattoo on his chest, a new one, her name in Italian script over his heart. We'll be ready. We will. He kissed her fingers. Together. The wedding preparations revealed more about Cassian's world. The violence lurking beneath the elegance. The bodies he'd ordered buried. The blood on his hands that no amount of expensive suits could wash away. Gianna probably should have run. Should have been horrified. Instead, she fell deeper. Because Cassian never lied to her about what he was. Never pretended to be anything but a dangerous man doing terrible things. And somehow, impossibly, she loved him anyway. 2 weeks before the wedding, Gianna's mother pulled her aside. Are you sure about this? Her eyes were worried. Cassian's world is violent, sweetheart. Dangerous. I don't want you trapped. I'm not trapped, Mom. I'm choosing this. Gianna took her mother's hands. I know what he is. What his family does. And I love him anyway. Is it crazy? Probably. But it's my choice. Her mother studied her for a long moment. Then she smiled sadly. Your father would have hated this. But he would have understood. Love makes us do reckless things. She kissed Gianna's forehead. Just promise me you'll be careful. I promise. The night before the wedding, Cassian found Gianna on the terrace of the Tuscan villa where they'd hold the ceremony. The same venue originally chosen for his wedding to Vittoria. Having second thoughts, he asked quietly. Every day. She turned to him. But I have them about breathing without you too. So here we are. He pulled her into his arms. I don't deserve you. Probably not. She kissed his jaw. But you're stuck with me anyway. Forever. Forever. They made love under the Tuscan stars, slow and reverent, both of them trembling with the weight of what tomorrow meant. When she came, Cassian caught her tears with his lips and whispered promises in Italian that sounded like prayers. Ti amerò per sempre, Ibrid. I will love you forever. Sei la mia salvezza. You are my salvation. Mia moglie. Mio cuore. Mia vita. My wife. My heart. My life. Gianna held him close, memorizing every touch, every breath. Tomorrow, she'd become Gianna Valentino. Tomorrow, she'd bind herself to this beautiful, violent man forever. Tomorrow, there'd be no going back. The wedding day dawned clear and perfect. The cathedral was ancient stone and stained glass, filled with every major mafia family on the East Coast. Power players in custom suits. Dangerous men making dangerous alliances. And in the center of it all, Gianna Romano walked down the aisle toward Cassian Valentino, heart hammering, hands shaking, absolutely certain this was either the best or worst decision of her life. Cassian waited at the altar in a charcoal suit, gray eyes burning as he watched her approach. He looked like a god. Like a devil. Like everything she'd ever wanted and everything she should have feared. When she reached him, he took her hands, leaned close enough that only she could hear. Last chance to run Bellissima. Shut up and marry me, Valentino. His smile could have lit the world. The ceremony was traditional, conducted in Italian and English. Gianna's hands trembled as Cassian slid the ring onto her finger. Platinum with a blood-red ruby that probably cost more than her mother's brownstone. With this ring I thee wed, he murmured. Sei mia per sempre. You are mine forever. And you are mine, she whispered back. The moment the priest said, You may kiss your bride, Cassian claimed her mouth with devastating possession. The cathedral erupted in applause, but Gianna heard nothing but her own heartbeat and Cassian's ragged breathing. They were married. Legally. Irrevocably. Bound by law and blood and mafia tradition. The reception was at the Moretti estate, the same place Marco had tried to kidnap her. Poetic that she'd celebrate her wedding where she'd almost died. Dante gave a toast. To my son, who finally found something worth fighting for. And to Gianna, brave enough to fight back. Carlo Moretti raised his glass. To the merger of families. May this alliance bring strength and prosperity to both houses. Vittoria caught Gianna's eye from across the room, raised her champagne in silent acknowledgement. No hard feelings. Just respect between women navigating impossible situations. Then the first gunshot shattered the night. Chaos exploded, guests screaming, security drawing weapons, Cassian throwing Gianna to the ground as bullets tore through the windows. Marco, Cassian snarled, covering her body with his. He fucking came back. Cassian Valentino. Marco's voice boomed over speakers. Come out, or I start executing guests. Starting with your new wife's mother. Ice flooded Gianna's veins. Mom, Cassian's face went dead. Stay here. Like hell. She grabbed the gun from his ankle holster. We go together. He should have argued. Should have locked her in a safe room. Instead, he kissed her hard. Together, he agreed. Always. They emerged onto the terrace to find Marco De Luca, surrounded by 20 armed men, holding Gianna's mother with a gun to her head. Let her go, Cassian said evenly. This is between us. Everything became between us when you stole my birthright. Marco's smile was unhinged. The De Luca family was supposed to dominate the East Coast. Instead, you Valentinos keep climbing higher while we scrape for scraps. Well, no more. This is about ego. This is about destiny. Marco's gun pressed harder. Gianna's mother whimpered. I was supposed to be legendary. Instead, I'm a footnote. And it's all because of you. So kill me, Cassian offered. Let everyone else go and put a bullet in my head. End this. No. Gianna stepped forward. You want revenge? Take me. I'm what he loves most. That's real pain. Marco's eyes lit up. An interesting offer. Dante appeared from nowhere, gun to Marco's temple. Let go of the woman, or I paint this terrace with your brain. A standoff. 20 guns pointed at Dante. Dante's gun pointed at Marco. Marco's gun pointed at Gianna's mother. Cassian positioned to kill anyone who moved wrong. Mexican standoff. Marco left. How cliché. Last warning. Dante said quietly. Marco's finger tightened on the trigger. Gianna fired. The bullet hit Marco's shoulder, spinning him away from her mother. In the chaos that followed, Cassian's men swarmed in, disarming Marco's soldiers in seconds. Marco collapsed, clutching his bleeding shoulder, staring at Gianna in shock. You shot me. You threatened my mother. Gianna's hands shook but her voice was steady. I'm a Valentino now. We protect our own. Cassian pulled her into his arms, took the gun gently. Christ, Bellissima. You're terrifying. Good. She buried her face in his neck. Is Mom okay? I'm fine, sweetheart. Her mother appeared shaken but unharmed. That was very brave. And very stupid. Family trait, Cassian muttered. Dante stood over Marco, gun still trained. Carlo. What do we do with him? Carlo Moretti appeared, surveying the scene with cold calculation. Attacking a wedding. Threatening civilians. This violates every code we have. So we kill him, one of the capos suggested. No. Cassian's voice cut through. We do worse. We erase him. Everyone looked confused except Dante, who smiled darkly. Exile, Dante explained. We strip him of his name, his territory, his family connections. Send him to a city where no one knows him, no one respects him, no one fears him. Let him live as a nobody. It was a fate worse than death for a man like Marco. To be powerless. Forgotten. Irrelevant. Seattle, Carlo decided. Far from our territories. And if he ever returns east of the Mississippi, he dies. Marco's face went ashen. You can't. We already have. Dante gestured to his men. Take him. He leaves tonight. Marco was dragged away. Screaming threats that became pleas that became broken sobs. The wedding guests slowly emerged from hiding, shaken but unharmed. Cassian pulled Gianna close. Some wedding night. At least it wasn't boring. She kissed him. Are you okay? I'm perfect. You're alive, your mother's safe, and Marco's gone forever. His hands framed her face. And you're my wife. That's all that matters. They danced despite the blood on the terrace. Despite the bullet holes in the walls. Despite everything. Because in the Mafia world, love and violence were the same language. And Gianna Valentino, had learned to speak it fluently. If this story found you when you needed it, pass it on to someone who understands that some love stories are written in blood and sealed with sacrifice. If you've ever been caught between the monster you should fear and the man you can't stop wanting, you belong here. Subscribe so these stories keep finding the people who need them. And if you want to know what happens next, if Gianna survives her new life, if Marco returns, if love is enough when everything else burns, tell me in the comments. Because in this world, nothing is ever truly over. 1 year later, Gianna Valentino stood on the terrace of their Manhattan penthouse, watching the city lights blur into gold. Behind her, Cassian's arms circled her waist, his hands resting on the swell of her pregnant belly. She's kicking, he murmured, lips against her neck. She knows her father's voice. Gianna leaned into him. You think she'll hate what we are? What we do? Probably. Cassian turned her to face him. But she'll understand. Eventually. That sometimes love requires violence. That protecting family means getting blood on your hands. That we're not good people, but we're good to the ones we love. Very poetic for a mobster. I had a good teacher. He kissed her slow and deep. You've made me better, Bellissima. Not good. Never good. But better. She kissed him back, tasting smoke and wine and the future they'd built from ashes. It wasn't a fairy tale. It was better. Messy. Real. And as the city spread out before them, their empire, their prison, their home, Gianna Valentino had only one regret. That she'd ever thought normal love could satisfy her. Because once you'd tasted darkness, anything else was just pretending.